I hit 15K per month online at 19 years old, but there were 3 different big pivotal times where I almost quit completely. And it wasn't because the business model didn't work or that I didn't have the skills. It was simply because I had nobody to psychologically prepare me for what was to come on this journey. If somebody sat me down when I was broke in college and said, look, you're going to run into these things and here's how to solve them, I would have saved myself months of doubt, frustration, almost giving up entirely. And here's the thing, these aren't like the typical business tips that you hear everywhere. It's really about the mental game that nobody talks about, but everybody struggles with. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I wish somebody had told me before I got started. It's honestly the stuff that could have changed everything. So the first thing is the dark realization. So when I first got started with making money online, I saw all these videos on TikTok, Instagram of all these people flexing how much money they made, and it really pissed me off. So I had to get started. I started first with drop shipping. I did drop shipping for a couple days, lost a little bit of money, and then I very quickly moved on to doing affiliate marketing. And with affiliate marketing, I actually made some money, but I very quickly hit a wall with me not being able to make much more income and me working my ass off in order to make that income. So I couldn't really scale it. The time investment with it wasn't worth the returns. And after going through those 2 things, I really started to have some doubt around making money online. I started questioning if everybody making all this money online was either just like lying or scamming people. I started asking myself, like, am I stupid? Are all these people on the internet just like fake? And at this time, I felt like I was missing a secret that everybody else knew for some reason and I couldn't figure out. After a couple of weeks of dealing with this led me to the thoughts of potentially just giving up on making money online entirely. I was essentially ready to accept just the traditional path of life. At the time, I was a full-time college student and I was also working part-time as a lifeguard. So I was thinking about just going back to that life and literally just like living that out, doing that, majoring as a mechanical engineer and all that stuff. But there was a specific day at my lifeguarding job where I was asked to stay overtime and do a bunch of extra work and I didn't get paid for it just because I kind of had to do it because my boss asked me to do it. And that day really struck a chord in me and that pissed me off. And I'm like, dude, I have to find a way to make this making money online stuff work. So what I really started to do is I started to analyze what these gurus were actually doing versus what they were telling me to do. I started realizing that despite the fact that everybody tells you to do all these different business models, one guy says to do dropshipping, one guy says to do trading, one guy says to do affiliate marketing, one guy says to do TikTok shop. Like there's literally like 20 fucking business models at this point. All these people telling you to do all these different things, they're all running the same business. They are selling you a course or a coaching program. And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, if that's the best business model, why don't I just work for one of these businesses? And this realization essentially led me into doing high ticket sales. Instead of starting all these complex business models from scratch as a beginner, which I was, why don't I just go into an already existing business and just help them make more money? And that one mindset shift literally changed everything for me entirely. And I honestly wish that I knew it earlier. The second thing that had me stop in my tracks on my journey and almost had me potentially quit was family pressure and self-doubt. So after succeeding a little bit with high ticket sales and hitting my first 5K per month, I was delusional enough to completely drop out of college. I did not want to work that traditional life or go down that path any longer. And so I told my parents about this and my parents lost their fucking minds. At the time, I was still living with my parents, so I told them about this and there was constant tension in the house. They weren't like being mean or rude to me about it, but they were just being my parents and I don't even blame them for this. They were worried about my future. You see, I knew what I knew and I had the confidence in myself to make it work, but they didn't directly have that, which is understandable, right? Your parents aren't as hip or apt to the online game. And so the issue wasn't even that they were doubting me or anything like that. The issue was whenever I ran into one small hurdle or one small rock on the path, I started having these doubts myself. Obviously, there's like up and downs when it comes to doing anything in life, right? So whenever I'd hit like a down, I would have thoughts running through my mind like, dude, maybe they're right. Maybe I should just go back to school and just pursue an education. Essentially, their doubt in me started becoming my own doubt. And to be honest with you, it's really hard to stay consistent and show up every single day and do the work you need to do when you literally have people you live with that think you could be making a mistake. Now, again, I don't blame them at all for this. It's not even their fault because the reality is most parents do not understand the world of making money online. They think it's completely bullshit and all a scam. The problem for me was I let their fear become my fear. Every time I hit a small hurdle or a small roadblock on my journey, the voices got louder and louder in my head. And I almost quit multiple times because of this internal conflict. Honest to God, the reason that I never gave up is because I had told so many people, like my friends and like my family, that I was going to be successful. And the mere thought of me finding a little bit of success, dropping out of college, telling everybody that I was going to be successful, and then having to give up on that and go back to college, that pissed me off so much. Like, that was literally the most embarrassing thing that I could ever fucking imagine. And so I literally had to make it work. I had to put my back against the wall. I had to find a way somehow, some way. And that's exactly what happened. What I wish I knew earlier, though, is that your parents' doubt comes from a position of love, not malice in most cases. And you can't even really fault them for it because they can't see your vision. If you want to become the most successful person in your bloodline, you're going to have to do things that nobody else ever has. And there's a good chance that when you start doing things like this, family members are going to be asking, like, what are you doing? You have to understand, though, that you have a vision for your life that your family doesn't even comprehend or understand. And so hypothetically, if they do have doubt and if they do talk shit about what you're doing, it should pretty much just bounce off of you, because you have to understand that your life that you want to live is going to be completely different from all these people. So they really shouldn't understand it. You have to absolutely be mentally prepared for this pressure, because if you don't, you're going to succumb to it and you're going to give up. And the third thing that almost had me give up on my journey was success without fulfillment. So after I hit 5K per month, dropped out of college, I went all in, and despite the doubts, despite the uncertainty, I ended up somehow miraculously hitting $15,000 a month just a couple months later. And at the time, I was a setter closer hybrid. So if you don't know about high ticket sales, there's appointment setting and there's closing. I was doing both on the same offer at the same time. Now, I hit 15K per month at 19 years old, which was awesome. I should have been celebrating. I should have been having the time of my life. But it was literally the exact opposite. I was working 10 to 12 hours per day for 6 days a week. And then on the 7th day a week, I was working like 6 to 8 hours. Essentially, I was working 2 full-time jobs at 19 for 1.5 years straight. And after a certain point of doing this, I got smacked in the face on, like, what the fuck was I even doing this for? Because the reason I got into making money online in the first place was for the lifestyle, for the freedom, to be able to do what I wanted, when I wanted, where I wanted. And yet here I was working my ass off with no real freedom at all. I had a lot of uncertainty and thoughts of, like, is this what success looks like? Are you just literally working your ass off all day, every day? Are you just like a slave to work? And at the time, I was very mentally exhausted. I started questioning, like, is this grind even all worth it? Like, if I just put the same amount of effort into the career path, like, would I be making more money with less work? But I think at the time, what stopped me from quitting was I just started really looking at the average life of the average person. It's like, sure, I was probably working more hours than somebody with a 9 to 5, but the idea of having a fat boss that could tell me what I could and couldn't do, the idea that I can't take time off whenever I feel like it, the idea that I have to go to a job and try to be friends with all these coworkers that I don't give 2 fucks about. I'm like, bro, yeah, like, I would rather work 80 hours a week for myself than 40 for someone else. And so what I wish I knew before I got into this is that you will have a temporary phase where you will need to grind. The way that I kind of see it now is, like, if you have a full calendar year of 12 months, like 6 of it is going to be full grind, locked in, 12 hours a day, just like no distractions, fully focused. Then you have another 3 months where it's like a partial grind where you can still have hobbies and go out and do stuff from time to time, but you're still working pretty hard. And then I personally do like a good 3 months out of the year where I'm just like pretty much chilling. This allows you to balance freedom with still doing the work you need to do and showing up and becoming the person that you need to be. And understand that you, when you're starting to make money online, you might hit making 10, 15, 20K per month, where on paper you have your financial freedom goals. You might have to work your ass off to be able to sustain that for a little bit before you can take some breaks. You essentially have to go through an initial grind first to become used to the type of money that you want to make before then you have the freedom with it. Like, if you go from 0 to 10K per month, you're going to have to work your ass off at 10K per month for a little bit for then it to become a new standard where you start making 10K per month and not having to work as hard in order to pull it off. And what I would have told my younger self that was in this grind phase is that the skills that you're developing during this will pay off in the future. It's essentially like, don't make the mistake of having a season of grinding as like that it's the final destination. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is what I wish I knew earlier. And if I had known this earlier, there were potentially a lot of mistakes that I could have avoided. I could have saved a lot of money and time. I'm a huge fan of setting the right expectations when it comes to making money online. I think that if you try making money online and you have the wrong expectations, it's essentially impossible to succeed. If some guru out there tells you that you can make 10K per month working 1 to 2 hours per day, and then you get started on it and it takes 8 hours a day, you're probably going to quit. But if you understand that it's going to take 8 hours a day, then you're much more likely to actually go in and crush it and succeed with it. If you guys want to work one-on-one with me, go to the description and check out the resource that I provided. It'll show you what I do, who I've helped, and exactly what it would look like for me to help you specifically. Or if you check that out and you have other questions, you can go to my Instagram and you can DM me. Just let me know that you came from this video so I can help you out. But other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.